Gabriel has become one of the biggest symbols of Arsenal's transformation under Mikel Arteta. He's strong, focused, and he plays with a mix of intensity and confidence that defines this new Arsenal era. This guy isn't just a wall at the back, he's also a real threat up front.
Oh, and a glorious equaliser! Superbly finished by Gabriel!
He has already scored so many Premier League goals from set pieces.
Corner comes in, it's a really good one, it's in! Gabriel's got his head to it and Arsenal have taken the lead!
Saka's deliveries in towards the near post and Gabriel's header finds the bottom corner! Arsenal have a breakthrough!
Rice drives it in. This one's more difficult to deal with! And it's Gabriel again!
As Mikel Arteta once said, Gabriel defends like a world-class defender and attacks like a world-class attacker. The first thing you notice about him during set pieces is his mindset. When Arsenal win a corner or a free kick, it's like he flips a switch. His body language changes and you can tell he believes that moment belongs to him. That's why you hear the groans in the stadiums when Arsenal get a corner. It feels like a penalty kick. That hunger and focus from Gabriel captures just how much he has grown in the past few years. Early on, he was a bit raw and aggressive. Sometimes he'd have these bozo moments. But over time, he's become this complete dominant defender and a true leader at the back. His partnership with Saliba is one of the best, if not the best, in Europe. They complement each other so well.
Everyone knows he's a top player. He's a good guy and a footballer. I think he's so calm and a lot of quality, as everyone say. For me, he's complete as a Rolls Royce.
Saliba's calmness blends in with Gabriel's power and aggression. In fact, last season and even this season, you could argue that Gabriel's influence has been just as big, if not bigger, than Saliba's. But there's no reason to compare, at least not if you're an Arsenal fan, because together, the two have become the foundation of Arsenal's defense. They're the base that everything else is built on. It's why in June of 2025, Arsenal rewarded Gabby with a new long-term contract until 2029. It came right after he suffered a hamstring injury that required surgery, showing just how much the club values him even when he was sidelined. That contract extension sent a clear message. Arsenal see him as a part of their core for years to come. And that kind of loyalty really matters. He was the first of several key players, including Saka, Saliba, and Martinelli, to commit their futures to the Gunners.
Gabby, you've extended your contract at the Arsenal. How do you feel?
It's an amazing club and I'm so proud to sign a new contract. Yeah, I love this club, I love the fans, my teammates, and yeah, I love this stadium, so I'm so proud and thank you for our support.
His decision to stay sends a strong signal about the belief this squad has in what they're building. For Arsenal, this was a great decision, especially now that Gabriel is entering his peak years. This guy is more than just a strong defender now, he's a leader. He's the loudest voice in Arsenal's back line, constantly organizing and motivating his teammates. The man reads the game better than anyone. He knows when to press, when to drop. As he's aged, he's become much better at managing risks. He understands when to be aggressive and when to back off. And of course, he's still a beast in the air. Very few defenders attack the ball like he does. In my opinion, Gabriel represents the best of Arteta's arsenal. He's hungry, disciplined, and fearless. The exact qualities that Arteta wanted to instill onto this club as soon as he became a manager. And the Brazilian story is incredible, because he went from this raw kid who left Brazil at 13 to one of the Premier League's most dominant defenders. Arsenal fans love that journey, and now with his contract running through 2029, they'll be seeing a lot more of Big Gabby leading the charge for years to come. And what makes Gabriel such an important and lovable figure at Arsenal is that he joined the club when they were struggling. Like, these guys were finishing mid-table, they were having inconsistent performances, and they had a fan base that was desperate for an identity. But even during those times, Arteta saw in him a player who could help change the culture. And it makes sense when you look at Gabriel's journey. From his early days at Avaí FC, it was obvious that he was going to be something special. Even at that young age, He brought energy, leadership, and aggression. He was literally a teenager, and he would sometimes wear the captain's armband for Avaí, and he helped them earn promotion to Brazil's top division in 2016. That's when his talent caught the attention of scouts from Europe. And then, a few months after turning 19, he made the big move to France, signing for Lille on a long-term deal. Life in Europe, though, wasn't easy at first. Initially, Gabriel didn't get much game time, and was sent out on loan to Troyes and then Dinamo Zagreb to gain experience. What's hilarious is that I believe he only made one appearance for each of these clubs on loan, but it didn't matter. He kept working and trying to improve his game. It was under Christophe Galtier when Gabriel finally got his chance at Lille. He formed a very solid partnership with veteran defender Jose Font and quickly became one of the team's most reliable players. Galtier at the time praised him a lot for his attitude, saying that he was hungry to play and an example for other youngsters. By 2019, Gabriel was already starting regularly in Ligue 1 and holding his own against Europe's best. And that's when Arsenal came knocking. Gabriel had just come off an impressive season in France where he helped Lille finish 4th in Ligue 1 and played in all of their Champions League matches, including 2 against Chelsea. And the thing about Gabriel was that he wasn't just solid defensively, he was very good on the ball too. In fact, he had completed more passes into the opposition half than any other player in Ligue 1 that season, and he ranked near the top for forward passes and aerial duel. The man was strong, composed, and left-footed, which is exactly the type of player Mikel Arteta wanted to build his defense around. So when Arsenal made their move, it wasn't just another transfer. It was the Spaniard making a statement. He was reshaping the defense, bringing in both Gabriel and the young Frenchman William Saliba. At the time, many believed that these two could form a partnership strong enough to anchor Arsenal's backline for the next decade, and so far they've been proven right. For Gabriel, the move was a dream come true. A few years earlier, he had been bouncing between loans and reserve football. Now he was heading to one of the biggest clubs in England, ready to show he belonged at the very top. So in September of 2020, the Gunners signed him for around 30 million euros.
Major developments at Arsenal today. Gabriel Magalhães is expecting to join the club today. We understand the deal will be worth £27 million. Gabriel was at Lille's opening game of the season last night against Rennes, but is expected to leave France and arrive in London over the next 48 hours for a medical.
At the time, it seemed like a lot of money for a defender. Of course, now it's an obvious bargain. He arrived in London as a confident 22-year-old ready to prove himself, and he wasted no time doing that, scoring on his Premier League debut and immediately improving Arsenal's defense.
Willian with the corner. Could Arsenal strike early in the second half like they did in the first? And it comes, it's headed towards goal, and it has gone in. And it's Gabriel on his debut.
He even won Arsenal's Player of the Month 3 times in a row. From that moment, it was very clear this was a player who was going to be a key part of Arsenal's future. Now, his first season was still a bit bumpy. Initially, he was really good, but then he caught COVID and struggled to get back into rhythm when he returned. At that same period of time, Arsenal as a team were also struggling. Then, of course, there was the language barrier. He couldn't speak English. But throughout all of it, he learned a lot from that season. And more importantly, Arsenal fans got a glimpse of how dominant he could be. Because even when he was struggling, the most important thing you noticed was that Gabriel had this unbelievable fighting spirit. When you look at Arsenal during that period and even before, that's one thing they were always missing. Players who played with heart. Arteta in particular demanded intensity and aggression from his defenders, and Gabriel delivered exactly that. Alongside Ben White and with Aaron Ramsdale at the time, Arsenal's backline slowly started to click, and the results spoke for themselves. The Gunners were winning more duels, more tackles, more headers. The defensive unit was stronger and more connected than ever with Gabriel there. It was a glimpse of what was coming. A defender who had fought his way up from humble beginnings, now becoming one of the pillars of Arsenal's rise under Arteta. Over the years, he's become one of the Premier League's most reliable and dominant defenders. I mean, this guy shows up every week and gives it everything. He's played more than 150 games for Arsenal, second only to Bukayo Saka under Arteta, and his consistency has been unreal. Even when the team's gone through rough patches, Gabriel's level has never really dropped. Sure, here and there he might have made a mistake, but over the course of an entire season, I feel like he's been pretty good. In the 2021-2022 season, for example, he played nearly every league game and chipped in with several crucial goals from the back line. The man has scored nearly 20 Premier League goals, which is just an incredible number for a center back. That season that I was talking about earlier, the 2021-2022 season, the Gunners actually had a poor start, but when Gabriel returned from his injury, he helped settle everything down. He immediately brought stability and power back into the back line, helping the team get clean sheets against Norwich and Burnley Burnley before completely shutting down Harry Kane in the North London derby. And keep in mind, this was a Harry Kane in terrific form that season. One of the things that you could notice right away from Gabriel was that his biggest weapon was his dominance in the air. He's built a reputation as one of the most dangerous players on set pieces in the entire world, not just the Premier League. His success comes down to his perfect timing and movement. He knows exactly when to make his run, and Arsenal's clever corner routines help him find space. Every time Arsenal win a corner, you can feel the tension in the stadium. Everybody knows what's coming, they just can't defend it. I've literally seen teams try to double and triple team Gabriel in the box, and it still doesn't work. Even when you try and disrupt his run up, he still finds a way to get a touch on the ball. Even if he's not the one scoring the corner, it's his header that helps set it up. And because he's such a threat in the box, it makes Arsenal so much harder to defend against. And then when it comes to actually defending, Gabriel is as tough as they come. Arteta has called him world class, and it's easy to see why. He's physical, he's fearless, and he's so aggressive. But as the years have gone by, he's also become smart and disciplined. He's not just trying to crunch people for the sake of crunching. He reads the game well, he knows when to step into intercept passes, and the man rarely loses a one-on-one battle. He's also extremely dependable. If you look at his career, he's rarely actually injured, and he's been almost always available when Arsenal needed him the most. Statistically, he's right up there with the league's best defenders in tackles, interceptions, and clearances. And this is so good to see because for years, Arsenal lacked this kind of elite center back. Whether it was David Luiz or Socrates or Mustafi, it seemed like whoever was in the back line in those days just loved being a bozo. Arsenal's back line was like Swiss cheese. Teams would just take turns poking different holes in them. And not only did these defenders make mistakes, but they wouldn't even defend with pride. Well, the good thing is that Gabriel is the complete opposite. This is a player who celebrates a block like it's a last-minute winner. He will cheer after making a clearance. And that's the exact type of player you need in your back line. Someone who actually takes pride in defending. This man puts his body on the line in a way that you would think if Arsenal concede, he's gonna get spanked by Arteta in the locker room or something. And that's probably why Arsenal rarely concede. Because even when you think there's an opening, Gabriel comes out of nowhere and takes the ball. The Gunners are so good defensively that just scoring against them right now feels like a win. The other thing that really makes Gabriel stand out is his leadership. You can always see him shouting instructions, encouraging his teammates, and leading by example. Arteta has said that the team's belief is higher when Gabriel plays, and it's easy to see because of the energy and commitment he brings.
That's exactly the part that I loved about it, because when everything goes well in the first few minutes for a player and he gets confident and things are flowing for you, it's easy to continue. But Gabi had two difficult moments, probably not at his standards, but the way he reacted to that and the sense of security that he transmits, that's maturity and that's the mindset that we need in the team. So that's a really good example to use and that I would use for sure.
When you see this guy bust his ass to defend and block every single shot, it's contagious. It makes you want to defend with him. It makes you want to battle with him next to you. And over the years, as he's become more vocal, Gabriel's also become more composed. He's less about this wild aggression and more about control. Again, it's no surprise that Arsenal rewarded him with a new long-term contract in the summer of 2025, because just this guy's presence brings calmness to the back line. It's such a perfect combination that he brings now, because he's still aggressive. He still bodies attackers and puts in crunching tackle. It's just he picks and chooses his moments better, because when you watch him play, he is not afraid of getting under the skin of other players. For example, most center backs just bend over and let Haaland raw dog them, but Gabriel made sure to confront the Norwegian striker and let him know that when he plays Arsenal, it's not going to be an easy fixture. Of course, Haaland still gets his goals, but he has to work a lot harder for it. And that's also why Arsenal and City matches have become must watch, and a real rivalry is actually forming. Whether it's Haaland bouncing the ball off of Gabriel's head or Gabriel laughing in Haaland's face, the game is truly back. None of this friendly handshake nonsense, or players vacationing together like Van Dijk and Kevin De Bruyne. Here are two players actually looking to compete on the pitch. And Gabriel having this mentality, it's given an extra edge to Arsenal. This is a club who was notoriously known for being soft, but when you have a guy like this anchoring your team, you're not going to have that reputation. The Brazilian has also been one of Arsenal's most consistent players season after season. Like I said, he rarely misses a match, and he's so good that when he does miss matches, you can feel the difference. For example, in April of 2025, he suffered a hamstring injury that required surgery. It was his first major setback, and as you can see from the Sky Sport graphic, there's a huge difference when he is and isn't in the team. Arsenal are a significantly better side when he's on the pitch. pitch. Surprise, surprise. It's no coincidence that the Gunners struggled a lot defending set pieces while he was out. Around 40% of the team's expected goals conceded from set plays came after his injury. So yes, I'm not just glazing him for the sake of glazing. His presence really matters. And then of course you have the goals. The man's been getting more goals and assists than certain strikers. And he's been doing it literally since the moment he put on an Arsenal jersey. Now you guys can get your own Arsenal jersey. Just go to buygamejerseys.com and use code PETTALKS at checkout. Even if we go back to the 2021-2022 season, you could see that Gabriel was so dangerous in front of goal. He scored his first goal of the campaign in a 2-0 win over Leicester in October.
Then it's another goal from a corner, and this time it's Gabriel.
Then grabbed another in February, a crucial header that gave Arsenal a 1-0 win away at Wolves. Later in May, he popped up again, this time with the winner against West Ham, helping Arsenal stay in the top 4 race. He ended that season with 5 Premier League goals, which is pretty impressive for a centre back. The next season, he kept his scoring touch. He actually had a dramatic moment early in the season against Fulham. After making a mistake that led to a goal, he made up for it by scoring the late winner in the 86th minute. He also scored the only goal in Arsenal's 1-0 win at Chelsea in November, then found the net again versus Fulham in March, making it 3 goals in 4 games against them. The season after that was another strong one for him. He marked his 100th Premier League appearance with a goal against Liverpool, then got a brace in a 5-0 win over Crystal Palace, his first ever for the club. Then a few weeks later, he scored again in a 6-0 win at West Ham. That's right, he scored 3 goals in just a month as a defender. And then of course last season, he started hot once again. He scored the only goal in the North London derby. Notice how whenever he scores, by the way, it always seems to be a winner. Talk about being clutch. Then just a week later, he scored against Manchester City in a 2-2 draw. This one is always funny to me because Kyle Walker really thought he was marking him, and then he dunked on him. And then he also got headers against Sporting, that's the one where he mocked Gyökeres's celebration, and then against West Ham in November. Now, as I stated earlier, his season was cut short by the hamstring injury in April, but by then he had already reminded everyone why he's one of the most reliable goal-scoring defenders in the league. And for me, as a center back, when you're already defending at an elite level, and you start adding clutch goals, that's when you get to that upper echelon of central defender, the best of the best. I mean, that's what Sergio Ramos used to do. That's what Van Dijk has done recently. And if Arsenal can go on to win the Premier League, Gabriel is going to be talked about at that same level because he's defensively already so good. Then you add in the clutch goals and you get the most well-rounded center back you can possibly get. So again, it came as no surprise that the club extended his contract. Arsenal fans could finally breathe knowing that they have the Brazilian under contract at the Emirates until 2029. No more Real Madrid nonsense rumors or Saudi rumors. And of course, he rewarded Arsenal's faith in him by scoring a dramatic 96-minute winner against Newcastle in September. The moment really summed up all his qualities: clutch and someone who fights till the last minute. That new contract was a big statement. It showed Gabriel's commitment and the club's belief in him. Everybody knows that he's a key part of their future. And the great thing about him is he keeps getting better and better. Last season was one of his best seasons. He scored so many big goals and was very good defensively in all the big games. Yet this season he's gotten even better. He's still a rock in Arsenal's defense, and I actually feel like he's been performing even better than Saliba. He's also now one of the team's leaders. When he was asked why he signed a new long-term contract with Arsenal, his answer was very short but confident. He said he only had one thing to say, and Mikel already said it: we're ready to reach new heights this season. And that one line really sums up exactly where Gabriel and Arsenal are right now. After finishing as Premier League runners-up 3 seasons in a row, the 27-year-old Brazilian defender feels like it's finally time for them to go all the way. Gabriel's belief in the project is what kept him at Arsenal. He joined a far different looking Arsenal team in 2020. Now he's part of the club's core and they've gone so much better. Him staying sends a strong message about his loyalty and his confidence in where the team is headed. He clearly believes that he can win silverware with this group of players. And even though the past few seasons had been frustrating, with the club coming so close yet just short, he saw those setbacks as a part of Arsenal's growth. And that fighting spirit is so important to the team, especially now because the Gunners were able to add quality and depth without losing any of their key players. Gyökeres in particular was a signing that Gabriel already knew well, and he spoke highly of him in interviews. So it makes sense that the Brazilian has a lot of faith in the direction that Arsenal are going in. If he stays until the end of his contract, he will have spent almost a decade at Arsenal. Despite interest from other clubs, including Saudi teams, he never thought about leaving. And now that he's fully fit, he is determined to help Arsenal finally turn their potential into actual silverware. He's entering his prime and he's even become a regular for Brazil. To see him go from the skinny teenager at Avaí to one of the best defenders in the world is the perfect reflection of Arsenal's own story, from rebuilding to competing at the very top. To see just how good the team around the Brazilian is, you have to check out this video right here.